What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome to Fresh Comic Stories. Guys, this is the channel where we basically sit down and cover different kinds of comic book stories. Now, guys, today we are going to sit down and continue our coverage over the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Now, we are going to pick up with Ultimate Extinction. Now, if you're wondering what is this storyline, this wraps up the Ultimate Galactus trilogy. Back in the year 2004-2005, Ultimate Marvel gave us three stories: Ultimate Nightmare, Ultimate Secret, and Ultimate Extinction. But all three stories go together to tell one big story, Ultimate Galactus. And this is the final chapter of the three. And so guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. And if you do, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories in the near future. But guys, let's dive into Ultimate Extinction. We begin today's story with us picking up with Sam Wilson. Now remember, in this universe, Sam Wilson was tasked to learn everything he can from the Vision about Galactus. And so we pick up with Nick Fury, Reed Richards, Susan Storm, Carol Danvers, Sam Wilson, and Marvel talking about what they should expect from Galactus. Now, this is Marvel trying to give us the first idea on what Galactus is in this universe. In the main Marvel universe, Galactus is just a single being, a very powerful one, but he goes around the universe killing off planets. While in the Ultimate Marvel universe, Galactus is an army full of robots that travel through the universe killing off planets, which is a huge difference from the main Marvel universe. But the big key factor here is that the Ultimate Universe Galactus, when they arrive to a world, they are trying to destroy the world by attacking in three different ways. You have Reed Richards explain each of these waves. Starting with the first wave will be a psychic broadcast which will make people go insane. Now, what we saw in Ultimate Nightmare, that was Vision trying to contact people for help. But with Galactus, it will have a bigger effect with making people go insane. The second wave will be a virus that will just kill off the people of Earth. And with people being insane thanks to the psychic broadcast, they won't even stand a chance to defend themselves against the virus. The final wave will be Galactus attacking the Earth core, which when it is done, it will make sure the Earth cannot harbor life never again. Now, we do jump over to Misty Knight, which this is her first appearance in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Now, usually I would sit down and try to explain the difference between a character from both the Ultimate and main Marvel Universe, but when it comes to Misty Knight, her origin is literally the same. She was a cop who quickly rose to the top, but then there was an embalming incident where she lost her arm. Thankfully, Tony Stark was able to give her an artificial arm to help her out. Now, there is one difference between the two, and that is she is a private investigator in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Now, when she arrives to her office, she is greeted by Edward Schaefer, and Mr. Schaefer is looking to hire Misty to find his wife, who has been abducted by Paul Maitreya. Schaefer believes that Maitreya is a cult leader, seducing women and feeds off them financially. And so you have Misty Knight take the job only because she's in need of some money. Misty Knight goes to a random apartment that is across the street from the cult meeting point. Knight takes plenty of pictures of the cult people waiting for Paul Maitreya to show up. Night is surprised when Paul finally shows up, disrobes, and reveals himself to be a silver color looking being with wings as well. Before she is able to take any more photos of him, that is when you have gunshots come out of nowhere, killing all the cult people in the room. Misty realized those shots came from the room next to hers, and she sees Moon Dragon. I want to sit down and explain a little bit about the difference between the Ultimate Marvel Moon Dragon and the main Marvel version, but maybe another time, because this story is so long. If we sit down and try to explain about Moon Dragon from the main Marvel universe, this video will be an extra 10 minutes long. But we pick up with Misty Knight trying to chase down Moon Dragon, and they do fight for a few pages, but ends up with her getting away from Misty Knight only by luck. We do pick up once again with Nick Fury, Reed Richards, and Sam Wilson. Now the first section of the second chapter is really just Nick Fury and Reed Richards arguing over the fact where Reed should be at when he is working on a way to stop Galactus. Reed wants to be at the Baxter building and Nick wants Reed at the Triskelion. That is not even the important part of this moment. What is important is when a scientist comes in the room to tell Nick Fury they were able to detect something huge nearby Jupiter, which of course gives us the first look on how big the army is for Galactus. They stretch out hundreds of thousands of miles across in space, and they are only 7 days away from attacking the Earth. Now we do pick up with Misty Knight once again, and this time she is meeting up with some people she used to work with to see if she is able to get an ID on Moon Dragon, like who is she and where she's from. After a brief moment of waiting, that is when Misty Knight finds a profile that matches Moon Dragon. Of course, her name being Heather Douglas, just like her main Marvel counterpart. But the big problem is she's been dead for 23 years. She was a hired assassin who basically was killed by someone else. So the question is, how is she alive right now, but in the system, she's dead? That is when we jump back over to Nick Fury, who is right now meeting up with Professor Xavier. The reason why he is talking to Charles Xavier is because he is trying to see if Xavier is able to communicate with Galactus. Now, of course, you have the professor tell Nick Fury no, because the being is in space. There isn't a psychic in the world who could reach that far out. But you have Nick Fury ask if he is able to make Cerebro stronger than it is now, so Xavier can communicate with Galactus. Xavier says it is possible, but he needs a lot of money to do that. And Nick Fury is like, money is not even a problem. We are going to make Cerebro stronger so you can communicate with Galactus. Now, we do jump back over to Misty Knight, returning back home to her office. That is when she is greeted by Paul Maitreya, the man she was hired to track down and learn about, the same man who is this mysterious silver color being. That is when you have Paul tell Misty that he wasn't supposed to be discovered this early. With her having knowledge of him, he starts to attack her, hoping to kill her off before she tells anyone else about him at all. Of course, with their fighting going on, of course, Shield gets a warning about the fight going on in the city, and Captain America and Falcon suit up to go see what the emergency is all about. With Captain America and Sam Wilson arriving to the scene to fight against Paul Matrea, who we still have no idea what he is, the fight does last for a few pages, where Captain America and Sam Wilson are lucky enough to defeat him after firing a few rounds in him. After the fight, you have Captain America tell Misty Knight that she must be brought in because she was involved in this incident. And they have no idea what in the world is going on with the silver looking man and why he was after her. Now, we do jump over to Reed Richards and Susan Storm right now trying to find a way to bring down Galactus. But Reed is looking at the different universes that is around the Ultimate Marvel universe, like the End Zone from Volume 3 of the Ultimate Fantastic Four storyline. While Reed is looking through the different universes, he just found out there is a way to bring down Galactus. But the problem is, this would give Nick Fury an ultimate weapon, which will be bad in his own hands. Now, we jump back over to Nick Fury and Charles Xavier right now, about to get ready to try to contact Galactus through Charles Xavier's mind. Here is the big problem. As soon as Charles Xavier tries to contact Galactus, he gets a powerful feedback. This feedback is so powerful, the machine that Xavier was using breaks down very quickly. But here's the big thing though, with Charles Xavier trying to contact Galactus, it just made this powerful being angry. He hates the human race so much. With Charles connecting their minds together, Galactus feels like Charles Xavier has insulted the being by just touching its mind. And with that happening, Galactus sets off the alarms at S.H.I.E.L.D. That is when a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent looks into space and see what is happening. That is when they see that a missile was fired by Galactus. And so you have Iron Man and Captain Marvel suit up and try to stop this missile. Here's the big problem. When Iron Man and Captain Marvel arrive to stop the missile, well, the missile stops right in the middle of the sky, and another silver looking being pops out of the shell of this missile. Now, this being looks just like Paul Matrea, the other silver being from earlier that was trying to kill Misty Knight. This is where we get to learn that these beings could be the Heralds of Galactus. But before we're able to find out that is true or not, this being starts to attack both Iron Man and Captain Marvel. With the 4th chapter, it does pick up where Captain Marvel and Iron Man are fighting against this new silver being. Now, at this point, you're assuming that this is the Silver Surfer. Well, yes and no, which make things more confusing because there is a storyline down the road I plan to do that's in the Fantastic Four line of stories, where there's an actual story called The Silver Surfer. And so for right now, you are halfway correct with the idea of this being the Silver Surfer. But Iron Man and Captain Marvel are barely able to defeat this new silver being. That is when we jump back over to the Triskelion, where we pick up with Sam Wilson and Misty Knight. Now, you have the two just talking about how she was forced to come in for questioning, but as they are talking, out of nowhere, there is an explosion. And we see the return of Moondragon once again, but this time running away from the explosion. Now, Misty Knight was able to shoot her in the leg to stop her from running, so they can bring her in for questioning. That is when you have the group of people sit down and start to question her on why she is even here for. That is where we kind of get the origin of Moondragon, but only pieces. She is the clone of the original Moondragon, aka Heather Douglas, who died in the car accident. But she says she is not the only clone. There are hundreds of them, men and women clones of Heather Douglas. But she continues to tell them that her creator was able to use a bunch of satellites to get a picture of Galactus from space a long time ago. This man has been creating his clones to fight against the Silver People, the same ones we saw earlier. That is when Sam Wilson confirmed that these Silver Men are the Heralds of Galactus. They were sent here to basically break us down and make a bunch of people believe that an angry space god is coming. But also, the only way to please this god is to just commit suicide, which is a way to weaken the defense of the human race. Now, we do get a few pages of Captain Marvel and Captain America going after one of the many Silver Men to bring in to study, but to also question it. But we jump over to Jean Grey, Charles Xavier in the Vision. At this point, Jean Grey has a plan to bring down Galactus, but by using Vision. Remember, when it comes to Vision, she was sent to Earth back in the year 1904 in Ultimate Nightmare. She was basically a robot that recorded a message to warn us about Galactus. But you have Jean Grey coming up with a plan where Vision will record a new message to be sent to Galactus. Now, how will this work? Well, we don't find out until the end of the next chapter. Now, we jump back over to Reed Richards, and right now, he is working on his master plan to bring down Galactus, and it looks like he is making the same device that he used back in Volume 1 of Ultimate Fantastic Four storyline, which was the same device that gave them their powers. And so you have them working on something that could be the ultimate weapon that could bring down Galactus. That is when we jump over to the Triskelion and we find out today's the big day where Galactus is going to arrive on Earth. But while Nick Fury is getting this report, the clones of Moondragon are now attacking the Triskelion, a full-on assault, trying to bring down the Ultimates, Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and S.H.I.E.L.D. With the final chapter, it is basically all hell on Earth right here. You have the clones of Moondragon fighting against a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. You even have Captain America join in on the fight down there to kind of defend the base. Actually, you have a lot of the Ultimates join the battle. Charles Xavier even calls in the X-Men to help out with this huge battle on the ground level. But while that is going on the ground level, up in the sky, Galactus has arrived on Earth and about to begin his attack on Earth. Now, with the attack about to begin from Galactus, that is where we find out the plans of both Jean Grey and Reed Richards. For Charles Xavier, his plan is to combine the minds of the whole world and send the thoughts of millions of people to Galactus. Remember, when it comes to Galactus, the hatred of this being grew when Charles Xavier connected their minds. And so, what will happen when a bunch of minds are being connected all at once on Galactus? It is going to throw off the being completely. It wouldn't be able to focus straight with all of those thoughts being thrown at it. Now, jumping over to Reed, what he built was the same machine, but he is opening a portal to a baby dimension that is right now waiting for its big bang, meaning that this universe is just full of gas ready to be blown up. And so his game plan is to send a rocket into this baby dimension, this brand new dimension, to blow it up to start its big bang. All that explosion will be sent back out of the portal up in the sky and attack Galactus. You are basically talking about sending an explosion at Galactus with energy from an entire universe being sent right at Galactus. Now, These plans do go in action, and which doesn't kill Galactus, but what it does, it make Galactus retreat instead of killing it, which does stop the attack completely, meaning that heroes have won the battle. And it's all wrapped up in this last chapter, and the Ultimates are planning to send Vision back into space to warn other planets, but this time with a plan on how to stop Galactus from destroying their world. And guys, this wraps up Ultimate Extinction, which also wraps up the Ultimate Galactus trilogy that we have been covering for some time on my channel. And so guys, I do hope you liked today's video, and if you do, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe for more comic book videos in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'm out of here, and I'll see you on the next comic book video. Later, guys.